Hey guys, what's up? It's Erica. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, please make sure to subscribe. It really helps me out. If you guys don't know, I am posting every single day of February, so you should definitely follow along this little journey. I'm doing a YouTube experiment to see how posting every single day of this month will affect my channel. For today's video, I am doing a little Tulum and Cancun travel guide. I visited about a month and a half ago. I'm going to share with you guys the places that we stayed, some restaurants, some activities. I'll insert some pictures and videos of everything that I'm talking about too, so you guys can actually see what I'm saying. So Tulum has become one of the biggest travel destinations, I feel like, in the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years. One of the easiest ways to get to Tulum is to fly into the Cancun airport, and then we rented a car and drove to Tulum, which was about an hour and a half to 2 hour drive. I'm going to start off by talking about Cancun. We flew into Cancun and we stayed 2 nights there. We really were only there for a day and a half. Our real destination was going to Tulum, but it was definitely cool to check out, a good stop. Not someplace I would want to spend my entire vacation. The hotel we stayed at was Presidente Intercontinental Cancun Resort. This was actually one of the mid-range hotels. But it was honestly one of the nicest hotels I have ever stayed at. Our room was so cool, so beautiful. We had a view of the ocean from our room. The shower had glass in it that looked out to the room that you could then see out the window and see the water. It was definitely a room for a couple. It wouldn't have been a room for a family because the bathroom was open. I'm sure they have family style rooms and everything. When we were booking our Cancun stuff, we're kind of just okay, this is just part of our trip. We were really excited for the Tulum part of it. So we didn't actually put in a whole bunch of research and time to figure out what was best in Cancun, but we were actually super happy with where we stayed. It was really, really secure. I think a lot of the places do this, but every time we would come in and out, they have guards at the front and they ask you for your room number, so they keep track of if people are coming and going. They also give you free bottled water. I don't know if that's something that every hotel does, but we didn't know what to expect, and we bought a bunch of water from Walmart. Also, they had free breakfast. This breakfast was literally, it was outside and it was on the beach. It was so trendy. It felt like you're at a restaurant. It was completely free. They had so much food. It was honestly the best way to start off the morning. So I would 100% recommend that hotel. So because we got this free breakfast, we only went out to 2 restaurants to eat when we were in Cancun. The first one we went to right after we landed and got to our hotel. I think it was almost 11 at night when we got there. But that restaurant was called Buena Barra Cancun, which is pretty expensive. The hotel recommended it for us and called us a taxi to go, and we didn't even look at the menu. So it was a little bit more upscale than we were expecting, but the food was delicious. So good. It was the best thing to start off our trip on. They had really cool drinks. It was also a waterfront property, but because it was dark, we could not see the water. But I'm sure during the day it would have been really, really pretty. Then the next day, we kind of got a lunch dinner situation because we knew we were going to go out to a club that night. So we went to this Mexican restaurant. We wanted true Mexican burritos. It was called Taqueria, which I just found on Yelp. It was rated well. I thought it was mediocre. I don't think anybody was amazed. It was definitely a lot cheaper. Probably $5 or $6 for a burrito. So those were the only places that we went out and ate when we were in Cancun. I do have a list of activities that we did in Cancun. The first one was, I mentioned earlier, we knew we wanted to go out to a nightclub. Cancun is, I feel it's kind of a clubby, built out area, almost kind of I don't want to say Vegas, but a little bit. There's a strip and it's very rowdy. We could hear the music. It was just blasting at night. We went to Mandala Nightclub. We were there on a Monday night. So the fact we were even at a club on a Monday and that it was somewhat poppin', I don't even know what it would be on the weekend, but it was definitely an experience. I'm not a huge club or going out type of person anyways. I'm glad that we did it, and I'm glad it was kind of at the beginning of our trip. You buy tickets ahead of time, and I want to say they were $60 or $70, but 90% of your ticket becomes a drink credit for you. So you get to spend $50 or $60 of your ticket on drinks. So really your admission fee isn't that much if you get a lot of drinks, which I'm sure then their hope is that they get you super drunk and then you just keep ordering drinks. But we were very smart and just said how much longer until our credit runs out. But also when my friend was checking out he bought the tickets online for all 4 of us, it was only going to be like $10 extra for us to get bottle service and have a table for ourselves. So we did that, which was fun. We had people who like came up and were constantly like, oh, do you want more drinks? And that was kind of cool. I've never experienced that, probably never will again. The music was okay. It was definitely very like pop remixes. It was definitely a younger crowd. I was looking around and I felt so old. I'm 24 and I felt like everybody in there was like 16, you know, like freshmen in college maybe, I don't know. Another activity that we did was we went on a jet ski in the ocean, which I feel like I just picture jet skiing like in lakes. We were able to rent 2, so we were like 2 of us on each of the jet skis. We did it for like 30 minutes, I think like $60 or $70, which I've never rented a jet ski in the US, but apparently that's actually a pretty good price for it. And we had a good time. David threw me off the back of the jet ski. When we were driving up the hotel zone, there were tons of malls and they were some of the like prettiest facades. The outside of the mall was like really, really pretty. I think we all purchased something from Zara. The Zara was good there. But that's pretty much everything that I have to talk about for Cancun. But let's just get to Tulum, which was the highlight of our trip. So we stayed at Habitas Tulum. Habitas is this resort experience thing that began in Tulum. They have a bunch of locations now, and I think they're growing and expanding. I could not recommend it more. Just staying there is an amazing experience in itself. They give you this like bracelet thing that's like your key in and out, and they're like, welcome to our tribe, you are home. It's all about like, it's a very zen yoga retreat type of feeling. The room is absolutely gorgeous. I have a room tour on this channel, which you guys should check out if you want to see more about it. The pool is amazing. The restaurant, the bar. It is just literally the coolest experience ever. They did an amazing job at building it. They have amazing staff too. They're like the nicest people. They have free yoga in the morning. They have like some other live music later at night. We also did this honey and clay mask ceremony thing, which was so cool. They brought people in who taught us about the healing properties. We were able to do this whole little ceremony with them, which was really, really cool. It was probably like an hour experience, and that was free. The actual beachfront that they're on is not the best. They literally have people go out every single morning and rake up the seaweed and collect any trash so it like looks pretty, but there's definitely better parts of ocean. I wouldn't say that exact bit of ocean. There's a lot of waves that crash there, but they have the most beautiful infinity pool that overlooks the ocean. The 4 of us decided we will hopefully visit a bunch of different properties that Habitas owns in the future. I would love to go to all their properties. It's just that amazing. So now I'll get into the restaurants that we went to in Tulum. I think honestly the first restaurant that we went to was my favorite. It was called Ukami, and it was a sushi Mexican fusion restaurant. The sushi was amazing. Obviously, they're on the water, so the fish is just so good. They have like sushi tacos, which were just delicious. Honestly, probably some of the best sushi I've ever had. Habitas has a restaurant, which we did have like some breakfasts, and David and I did order some dinner there one night. The restaurant's called Mora, which you don't have to be a guest to go there. Something that I think is delicious is one morning we ordered this like bread basket, and it came with carrot hummus, which I've never had carrot hummus. We all thought it was so good. They had charcoal activated sourdough bread. They have like a really great chef who works there. Definitely pricey, but it was like part of the experience and it was delicious. The next night we went to a restaurant called Arca, which we had seen a lot of blog posts about it. That was super gourmet food. It was the type where like you go and the portions are pretty small, and all the food was like very adventurous and like just different. It was definitely good. Everybody else loved it. I'm just like less adventurous of an eater. The experience was cool, but I personally wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, you have to go there. The food is delicious. So later that night, after we spent a bunch of money, we decided to go out kind of late at night to a taqueria that was more in town to get some like real Mexican food. This place was called Taqueria Los Chachalacos. I didn't take Spanish, so my pronunciation's I'm sure horrible. That place was really yummy. It was fast, it was cheap, definitely good for like late night cravings. Then the next day we went to Burrito Amore, which it was rated super well on Yelp. The prices were definitely more affordable. It was like $5 for a burrito. It was really cute. It was more in the downtown Tulum area, so further away from the beach. I didn't think it was amazing, but everybody else loved it. So it takes a lot for me to be like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. But everybody else thought it was really good. This possibly gave our friend Alex food poisoning. It could have been a bunch of things. Maybe he swallowed some water, but about 8 to 12 hours after we ate here, he was pretty sick, but kind of ruined the rest of his trip for him. I felt really, really bad for him. I don't know. I don't know if it was that place, but that was kind of like the only thing that we had really eaten that day that like lined up with it. But like I said, he could have like drank water when he was in the shower or brushing his teeth if he wasn't being careful. Then the following day for lunch, I kept seeing these signs along the road for this Thai restaurant, and I was just thinking like, oh my gosh, Thai food sounds so good. So David and I went there. The restaurant is in a hotel that's on the water. So that was called Mezzanine. The view was super pretty. The Thai food was okay. Again, I wasn't like amazed or blown away, but definitely I'm spoiled living in California. I feel like we just have really good food in California. There's like a lot of different cultures here. Then the last place that we went for dinner was called Kitchen Table, which was another place we had read about in blogs. This was a great last meal. Something that like really stood out to me that I'd never seen on a menu before that was delicious was plantain gnocchi. I think plantains are like native in that area. So there was a good amount of like plantain food. This place was a Portuguese Mexican fusion restaurant. Definitely really cool vibes. Most of the restaurants basically just use candles to light their restaurants at night. I don't know if it's for the mosquitoes or what, but that's pretty cool. It definitely like adds to the experience. They also had really cute drinks. So those were all the places that we ate in Tulum. So now I'll tell you guys about the activities that we did when we were in Tulum. The first thing that we did were the Tulum ruins, which is definitely cool. The ruins are at the end of kind of like this national forest. Our hotel was super close to, and like I said, we were able to like rent bikes from there. So we biked all the way to the ruins. Definitely recommend checking that out. It's cool to see like some history while you're there. On our way to the ruins, we discovered this public beach. A lot of the beaches are more private because they're right in front of like hotels and stuff. So I think the resorts will charge a fee to come and use their beach, but there was a public beach that we found as we were riding through the national forest. This was by far the best beach we went to. We went there twice. The water was so warm. It was like bath water. There were some waves. When we were in Cancun, the water was so calm. But this did have some waves, which is fun to me. So definitely recommend going there. That public beach is right next to the Thai restaurant that I was telling you guys about. It's right next to Mezzanine. Cenotes are one of the biggest thing in Tulum. They're all like really pretty with really blue water. We went to Cenote dos Ojos. And honestly, we were all a little bit disappointed. The water is so much colder. Obviously, it's like groundwater and it's not as exposed to the sun. So that alone just to me makes it like a little bit less fun. It was pretty, but there's also a lot of people that go to them. So they can be kind of crowded. We did get the snorkel gear, which is definitely cool. At the one that we went to, there was some people who did like scuba, which I'm too terrified. If you're not claustrophobic or afraid of drowning, then that could definitely be cool. I'm sure you'd get to see a lot of cool stuff. You get to like swim through the caves. There's tons in the area, so I'm sure there's better ones. Probably some that are like more private, less touristy. We spent a few hours in the downtown area of Tulum, which is mostly just one street that has a bunch of stores. It's very touristy. Like you go to every single store and they have basically the same thing, like slightly different. Prices are pretty high. It's definitely made for tourists and somewhat of a tourist trap. If I go and visit a place, I really genuinely want to buy something that's not just like a tourist thing to buy, but like a genuine cool thing to buy there. So I didn't buy anything. They had like a lot of, like shot glasses that say Tulum. Then the last thing that we did, I don't know how to say it, put the name on the screen. It's a museum. It's so Instagrammable. I did a little research after. I think it was built in like the 80s or 90s. It is just this really cool building that uses a lot of like natural elements, but like I said, it's not really like your typical museum. There were no plaques to read. It's pretty much like empty, and you're really just kind of experiencing the space. It's absolutely beautiful, and I would love to figure out one day how to build something like that. So those are all of the activities that we did in Tulum. And that pretty much like sums up this little travel guide. So for my overall thoughts, Cancun, I'm definitely glad that we flew in and out of there. It was really easy. We were able to get a direct flight from San Francisco, and honestly, like the 2-hour drive was really easy. We were nervous about it, but we had no problems on the road or anything. It's definitely cheaper to do it that way, and I definitely feel like you probably want a car in Tulum. Cancun would not be a place I would want to spend my entire vacation. It is just really touristy and built out, and Tulum is in some ways. It's not as like huge high rise, but obviously they have really catered their experience there to tourists. I would love to go back to Mexico. I'd love to go explore different parts of it. I did feel like that both areas were pretty touristy, so it would be cool to check out a little bit something that's a little less like catered towards tourists. But we went in December and the weather was really, really good. It did rain, I think, like once or twice, but it's not bad at all. It's like the tropical type of rain. Let me know if you guys have more questions about this trip or more things you want to hear about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video.